No better way to start than with story time, right? How you feel about a story? What's better than a story and a song? That's like mint and chocolate chip put together, peanut butter and jelly, legs and breasts, thighs and sunrise. What's better than a story and a song put together? Nothing. You gotta start the show.
Okay, I have to introduce the whole thing now. This is Grindstone.
Yeah. So I was grooving a little bit this weekend and I could not get this one out of my head. I was one of 5, born to my mother, my older sister, and 3 young brothers. We seen it hard, we seen it kind of rough. But oh, with a smile, she would surely try to hide the fact from us that life was really tough. Hey,
I can hear my mother call, I can hear my mother call. At night I'd hear her call, to the Lord I'd hear her call. She'd say,
Father, Father, it's for the kids, each and everything I did. Please, please don't judge me too strong. Lord knows I meant no wrong. Lord knows I meant no wrong. And the devil said,
Wouldn't you like to dance with me? We're doing a cosmic slop. Wouldn't you like to dance with me?
We're doing a cosmic slop. Wouldn't you like to dance with me? We're doing a cosmic slop. She was well known in the ghetto. Tricks would come and they would go. Neighbors talking, call her Jezebel. But oh, with a smile, she was sure enough try to hide the fact from us that life was really hell. Hey, I can
hear my mother call, I can hear my mother call. At night I'd hear her call, to the Lord I'd hear her call. She'd say,
Father, Father, it's for the kids, each and everything I did. Please, please don't judge me too strong. Lord knows I meant no wrong. Lord knows I meant no wrong. And the devil said, wouldn't you like to dance with me? We're doing a cosmic slop. Wouldn't you like to dance with me? We're doing a cosmic slop. Cosmic slop. That's my joint. For those of you who are new here in class, I love music. I mean, it's just my thingamajig. And there's one part about good music that gets to me. It's when the groove and the lyricism are at equally high levels. Because who would have ever thought that Cosmic Slop, as many decades as I've thought that album was a top 20 album in music recording history, I never peeped the words. Father, Father is for the kids, any and everything I did. Please, please don't judge me too strong. Lord knows I meant no wrong. Lord knows I meant no wrong. Welcome to this episode of Sorry for My Language, episode 80-something. And we in here. We still on this side of Halloween. We still on the north side of Halloween. Halloween, man. One of my favorite adult holidays. Halloween is when I get to be real irresponsible, act a fool, do my thing, act like I'm a teen. And Thanksgiving is probably my top favorite adult holiday because that's when I'm responsible and really spiritually and mindfully responsible and expressing my highest expression of communal love with my people. And even if I'm not even around my people for whatever geographical delay or, whatever the reason might be, it's still like a warmth. I want to put on a sweater, I want to put on a sweater and smell the cinnamon in the hearth. So shout out to the holiday season coming. I mean, when it's summer, I do not like the idea of fall coming around. I'm just like, man, fuck fall. But I mean, I'll be like, fuck fall. But then when fall comes around, I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I like to take them drives, the meaningless, errandless drives, so I could go see all the fall leaves change. And I'm just noticing they don't really change like that on the West Coast. But on the East Coast, the change is dramatic and the colors are beautiful. And we've seen the colors all before, but it's just something wonderful about fall. I can sing another song. The autumn leaves float by my window. One time for the people. So you're here. Sorry for my language is the name of this show. This is my lifestyle philosophy, culture, and music plizzat, fizz norm. I'm Grindstone. This is sponsored by Grindstone Universal. And go to Grindstone Universal and get like me. You see this jacket here.
Oakland, California, that's where I'm from. Don't stop macking. Don't stop tapping. Don't stop macking. Don't stop tapping. Don't stop macking. Don't stop tapping.
You see what I see. I already know it. Shout out to Grindstone Universal. Go to Grindstone Universal. All right, enough, guys. Go to grindstoneuniversal.com and get fresh with me and get fresh like me. Ahem. Something to feel on her booty too. From the heart. If I was young and rich, I'd marry you, but I'm old and I ain't so. Man, so in this season, first of all, before we go any further, don't say you're going to pray for somebody. Don't say you're going to pray for somebody. Don't say you're going to pray for somebody.
And then you don't pray.
That's a habit that we need to leave in early 2025, in the third quarter of 2025, if we haven't done that yet.
Cause man,
I just can't stand it. Like it'd be like, I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna pray for y'all. Man, pray for so and so, and then you don't pray, right? And we already went over prayer. What prayer is? Prayer is a conversation with the entity or entities that you personally believe brought life into your great-grandparents. Whatever that or they are, it's a conversation with those people while your body is in a physical position that you reserve for that act. That's prayer. Shout out to prayer. And so I'm saying that because for everybody, I forget Irie. Everybody, all the Bunganatis want to go to Jamaica, kicking in Jamaica. Soak up Jamaican sun for all the things that Jamaica has to give to all the tourists. And I love Jamaica. But to all the people who affiliate themselves with Jamaica in a touristy kind of way or a outside looking in kind of way, and you do it and you love doing it, whether it's the Jamaican food you eat, the red, gold, and green beads you get on your braids when you feel in the summery kind of way, or the music you decide to skank to, or whatever it is that you do, I want you to give back to Jamaica now in prayer, if not in donation, because by the time this particular recording airs, Jamaica will be a very different place due to Hurricane Melissa. It has the potential to devastate the island, similar to Hurricane Katrina in the way it devastated New Orleans. It's a Category 5 as of right now. I don't know what landfall is going to hit, but Jamaica simply is not built up like Louisiana was. And Jamaica's an island. So if you're not in the mountains in that joint, your shit is washed up and becoming one with the ocean. There are no levees that are there to break, but it's just the fact that it's right there on that ocean with the damn hurricane coming. This is the biggest hurricane in Jamaican history, as far as I know. I think I'm right about that. Fact check me, but it's very significant. Even if it don't landfall at Category 5, it's going to hit as a Category 4. And there's going to be a lot of people who will not make it. Life is trippy like that. Life has a way of taking people and things whenever it wants to. So we really got to be grateful for the moments that we have right now, all the things that we could do right now with the people we could do it with right now, and live to our honesty, and continue to have those conversations with the entity or entities that you think brought life into your great-grandparents, into your great-great-grandparents, and just keep it like that. And that being said, I had some experiences around something similar like that just recently. I mean, we're talking transitioning, we're talking ghost. That even goes off into ghosting. And I don't even know where to start. First of all, are y'all afraid of ghosts? Are y'all afraid of the honesty that it takes to not be someone who has ghosted somebody? Because they kind of the same in a way. Let me explain. When I'll take ghosting first, right? I'll take ghosting. Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna just give it to you. I'm gonna serve your lunch first, okay? Let me tell you what I'm here to discuss. Damn it. So first of all, I haven't done an episode you'll never know digitally, but it's been about maybe a week and a half, maybe a week. I'm not sure, but I've been out of town. So it's not even important where I went, but it might slip out. But I went out of town, and in my out of town trek, if you see me kind of hesitating, it's because I'm trying to protect the names of the innocent. So I have a very good friend who has a building. Okay. This building has just recently been occupied by my very good friend. And to our surprise, that building had a ghost. No, I'm sorry, it didn't have a ghost. It had ghosts. Yeah, I said it. I said it correctly. The building has ghosts. Now you might be like, man, what you talking about, Grindstone? This is what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm gonna give you the story, top to bottom. My friend has just occupied this new building, running a business in this new building. So Sunday night, we were in the joint. Everything is normal. Things are going regular. And there was somebody who was standing around us. Like I said, I'm protecting the names and the titles of the innocent because I don't want none of y'all to get this and run with it unless my friend wants to speak on behalf of that place, that building. So anyway, and as I sit here delivering this message to you, I am being olfactorily drenched by the smell of sandalwood. I don't know if that's a word, but it sounds good. I'll make up words out here like Mobb Deep. Down from Santa Barbara, we do this the mob way every day. For those of y'all who are Mobb Deep fans. But anyway, Sunday, we're all, few of us, I would say maybe 6 or 7 of us, all chilling in this place of business. Everything's normal. We're talking. And then somebody who's not with us, but who works at the establishment was just standing there and like got bumped, moved as if she had got bumped. And then even said, dang, I feel like somebody bumped into me. Nobody was there to bump into her. So nobody really paid attention to it. You know, sometimes if you don't get enough rest or whatever, you could have the shivers or whatever, you know, you're not really tripping. So this person felt like somebody bumped into her. Okay. The following morning in this building, there was a cleaning staff to get the building cleaned up from the previous night, prepared for the current day of business. The cleaning staff is mainly Latino, and of that group, they are majority Catholic. Okay? So now, I'm going to be serious how I talk about this because this is really real. Inside the building, you have 2 levels. You actually have 3 levels, but 2 levels that are open to the public. The cleaning staff is in there cleaning up, and everybody glances, and a lady points to a lady who was in the building. She has hair to her mid-back, and she's wearing like a checkered flowy dress. And she begins to walk up the steps. Now, it's a big building that's empty when the business isn't operating, and the steps are wood. So you would hear a clunk, clunk. You would hear the sound of some shoes walking up steps. This lady was walking up the steps, no sound, and this is in the morning, right? So it's not like people are overworked and they're hallucinating. And I'm saying people because it was more than one person who witnessed this. She walks up the steps, and then as she's walking, not only did they not hear the sound of the feet, but they noticed her floating. So she's like on that conveyor belt of love, walking. Moving sidewalks. Like she's in that joint in the elevator, just moving on up. So she gets to the top of the steps and then disappears. But the staff looked, pointed, and in unison saw this person that we call an apparition. Right? Shout out to the vocabulary words. But everybody saw the same thing. Okay? Everybody saw the same thing at the same time. At which point, they decided it was time to go. I mean, what would you think? Like if you're sitting somewhere in a building where you thought that y'all were the only ones in there, and then you see a person, and then the person floats, dips, and disappears. That would be odd, to say the least. So in that moment, they all scattered and called my friend, whose name and establishment I'm keeping on the Lilo. So my friend said that hit me up and was like, "We got a ghost." Right? So then I'm sitting here as stunned as you are to hear that this is even something that could possibly happen. But, she did her due diligence. I almost gave it away with saying she. But she talked to a friend of hers, well, not even a friend, another worker at the restaurant who was not there at the time, called him up and asked him if he had seen anything suspicious in the place at all, in the building. And he was like, yeah, I was downstairs and I thought I was the only one in the building. And I saw a man walking around downstairs and he turned the corner. And so I spoke. But he didn't speak. So then I went around the corner to see where he was and it was nobody there. Right? So then he told her that. So then she's like, oh, damn. We got ghosts. We got ghosties.
What is it really?
We got ghosts. So immediately, she placed a call with her aunt, who is a spirit medium. Or maybe just a spiritual person. I don't even want to put medium on somebody who's not. But a very spiritual person who recommended somebody and recommended some things to say and what to do and the motion in which you have white candles and where you burn certain things in the restaurants. Damn, I almost gave it away again. A certain way you burn things in the building to... I'll be dropping cookie crumbs. It's total accident. This is sidebar. This is why if questioned by the police and you don't want them to know anything, say nothing. You have the right to plead the fifth. Because the more you talk and it's recorded, if you lying or if you're trying to withhold the truth, not even lying, little cookie crumbs gonna spill out and they can and will be held against you. So anyway, I'm trying to protect the name and the identity of the innocent. But the aunt said where to burn certain elements and certain things to say in the restaurant. Fuck. In the building. Okay? In the building. And so that was all taken in stride, took that to the face. And then placed a call with the guy who is heavy into crystals and spirituality and different things, who knows how to identify ghosts and what their needs are. This happened last week. I'm not making none of this up. All right. So she gave me a call and was like, this was happening. Come to the spot tomorrow morning because the guy, I don't even know what you call him. I don't know if he would be called a shaman or a Ghostbuster. I don't know what he's called, but the call was given to him to come handle this business. Come step to this ghost business, partner. So Ghostbuster number 1 comes in and he was an Asian dude, grown man, not an elderly man like on Kung Fu or nothing like that. But, it looked like he knew what he was talking about. So we came in with some abalone shells and some sandalwood incense. And I think he came with like a couple other herbs. He came in with some ashes and some other stuff. So we're standing in the spot, just students to whatever he's going to say, tripping. I wanted to go because I felt I was ready to see that particular ghost or the ghost in that building. Ghost in my house, not so much. Ghost in my passenger seat, not so much. Somebody else's ghost, hey, I'll dip in and dip out. That's how I'm thinking. So he made it real clear about the nature of the ghost. And it wasn't a lot of times when people are lying, like you'll pick up on the drag and you'll be like, man, this dude just trying to get whatever the day's pay is to tell us what we want to hear. And then he gonna, dip with like some falsehoods. But no, he seemed very clear. So when he came in, he was like, oh yeah, he walked around. He was like, yeah, there's a lady upstairs having a drink. Lady upstairs having a drink. Okay. Shit. So he's spotting ghosts right off the drip. And then he said it was a man sitting over in a chair over there. And he had a bad knee. Was it a bad knee or a bad leg? So from his understanding, or from my understanding, what he was telling us, and he was very Asian too. Like that's how I know it was money well spent. Because it was hard to understand some of the stuff he was saying. And that's the type of, if you're going to come heal me or do some shit, don't have good English. Like, fuck that. I want you to know some ancient shit on how to work on people and do shit. I want your family to have different customs at home than me. Fuck that. You need to be elder in spirit, if not in chronological age. That way I'm just going to believe you. If nothing else, just put on the hits, But anyway, I think Partner was really on something real. So he came through and he was like, okay, now this is where you should listen up, because some of you all might be in visitation type situations. And this is what you should pay attention to. So he said, pay attention to all my shit, first of all. But pay attention. So he said ghosts, or at least these, they had not fully died yet. So the body, I'm explaining to you how he explained to us. The body is the physical housing of the spirit, right? So the body dies, but the spirit is still alive. But sometimes if the spirit doesn't have enough energy to make it all the way to the next level, so to speak, then it'll remain in between the doors of life. Kind of like when you're in a train and you're like going, and you pull the joint open, you're trying to get to the next car, but you ain't opening it yet, so you're like in that in-between space. That's where the spirits that we may notice exist. So this spirit is, well, the lady and the man. And I think he might have peeped somebody else too. Like they was chilling up in that joint. But they existed in the in-between. So spirits, ghosts, keep the word G, they can't eat. So it's not like you could leave a sandwich out and they're going to eat the sandwich. You could do that as a gesture, but the sandwich won't be chewed and consumed. And I know a lot of people leave offerings for their spirits and their ancestors. I don't have no problem with that. I do not have enough knowledge of that. I am just a beginner Ghostbuster. I don't know a lot. But one is something about sandalwood incense, and I think it's the age of it, like how old that sandalwood element is. There's a lot of, let's say, spiritual nutrients in sandalwood. So when you burn sandalwood, the spirits can get enough energy, the ghosts can get enough energy to feel happy, cool, or whatever. They get what they need, they fuel up, and that's enough for them to go to the next place where they previously didn't have enough energy to go. And so, and he said ghosts like to lounge in the corners too. So you got to burn sandalwood in every corner in order to address them, in order to fuel them, energize them, feed them, so they can have the energy to move on. This is clutch. Don't kick them out. Like, don't demand that they're out, because they may be there for a reason, living in their peace, not even really knowing that they're dead. It's kind of like if you have a dream and you don't know that you're dreaming, that kind of stage might be where their mentals are. I don't know. But the way he was describing it, that's kind of how I felt. And so don't start freaking out and kicking them out and doing stuff out of fear, and because really you'll just torture yourself. But then another thing he said was don't allow them to don't engage with them. Like don't talk to them, ask them their name, all that type of stuff. Because then you're opening a door that you might not be equipped to deal with when that door opens. And they could really engage with you, and if you have a weakness, they can jump in your body and use your energy. For lack of all better terms. Did I explain that well enough? Self cosign. Ain't nothing like it. So we walked throughout this place and we burned the incense in the corners. Actually, we walked behind him as he burned the incense. And I didn't know this, but when you burn those cone incense and it leaves the ash, that ash still has energy of the element. So when you're going to burn another one, you could put that on top of the ash that you burnt. And at a certain point, the ash will be the only thing burning, but it's still burning whatever it is that's super ancient to even make the sandalwood compound. And so, you could burn the ash. I thought that was pretty cool to know. But you got to get the good ones, though. Don't get lame incense. And I'm not talking about burn some, midnight love incense. No. Midnight love incense. Midnight love incense. Baby. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something from somebody who really lives that life for real. Somebody who sees this as a spiritual practice and not cover up the weed practice, And some people have the weed and the spirituality together, but you'll know what I'm talking about. So anyway, homeboy burnt the incense. We walked around. The most communication was, we come in peace. We want you to be peaceful. Please don't reveal yourself to us right now. Don't scare us, and we will be peaceful with you. We appreciate your protection. It was just stuff like that, but it wasn't like, what's your name? How long have you been here? What's in my future? What's in my... Not that type of shit. That type of shit is dangerous, baby. It's dangerous. And you might not be ready for that type danger. So we weren't inviting that. But what we ended up doing was learning this chant from him, because similar, for those of you all who know nothing about Buddhism, or for those of y'all who do, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo is a chant. I believe it was started by Nichiren Daishonin. And Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, each syllable means something. And you can't understand it in a way that a person who's American understands English. Certain words have energies attached to them. And someone's like, what that mean? No, but what that mean? No, but what that mean? No. You just have to understand this word has energy, a certain amount of mysticism, a certain amount of cause and effect. And you just have to know more than I'm able to tell you to know why this affects this that way. But it wasn't Nam Myoho Renge Kyo that we were saying, but it was another chant. And when he was saying it, it was a mantra, and when he was saying it, I was like, what are you saying? And so we wrote it down. I can't remember what it is, but I wrote it down. And mantras do work. You want me to give you one that you'd be like, that don't work. That don't work. That don't program nothing. I'm going to tell you. Born in the USA. I was born in the USA. Yeah. Y'all remember what that did? You remember how big Bruce Springsteen hit and how many USA flags and all that? You remember the patriotism that existed when Bruce Springsteen was hitting? Come on, guys. Mantras work. So, Nuck if you buck. 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 If you say something over and 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 over, you invite a certain energy or you repel a certain energy. It all happens at the same time, right? So with your same English-speaking mind, think about what does nuck if you buck means. Well, you could say it means put your hands up if you acting tough, right? Get ready to fire one off if you acting that way. You buck. But it doesn't speak, those words in my translation don't speak for the energy that term brings. Did I bring it home? I didn't mean to do that. I don't even get the full applause because I messed that moment up. But the mantra that he gave, it gives energy to the room and it gives energy to you. At which point you become an energy supply and you begin to shine brighter, okay, as opposed to shine dimmer. And the ghosts feed off of the certain incense, certain elements. You need like a living element, so it should be flowers, water, like a living plant. That's why I don't understand fake plants. Like, look, this is real. This is a real ZZ plant. This is real. I don't do no fake plant. I ain't doing fake plants, man. I don't understand fake plants. Not unless you live in a super duper basement, dark area, something like that. Why am I gonna have a fake plant when I can have a real plant? Like, what are we doing? Like fake tits. You got a real woman. What are we doing? Anyways, they feed off of the energy of flowers. It gives them the fuel that they need, as well as sandalwood, and then sometimes oranges, but not all peeled and stuff, just like oranges. It just gives them what they need. It might not just be limited to oranges, but it's fruit. Gives them what they need. They get the energy to go other places. But what they also feed off of are low energy people. Ooh. Yeah, the ghosts feed off low energy people. They get the energy from the person who's not shining bright because it's easily accessible. They get that. That'll be the energy that they need to move off to the next thing. Now, I'm not talking about ghosts who haunt you, mean you bad, nothing, but they're just stuck in this middle and they need like a little umph. And a person who's not vibrating at a high level is somebody who's susceptible to being snatched by a ghost. Now, that being said, the guy with the bad knee who I was talking about, who was sitting on the couch, the shaman, and I wish it was a better word because I'm just throwing words out there at this point. Shaman, Brahmin, yogi. I'm wrong for that. But this man, he said, make sure nobody sits at that table or at that table who has a problem walking. because the ghost, who was a guy with a bad leg, will take that person's energy. And whoever has that problem, they will have multiplied that problem because the ghost will be like, oh, that is susceptible. Let me get what you got left. So people who you find who have, I don't know, several ailments, or somebody might trip and fall over something and nothing was there or whatever, or, even early death. A lot of the times, I'm saying what he said to us. A lot of the times that person was functioning with a certain low energy in a part of their life. And in order for the ghost to continue to live, spirit took that energy and transferred it, right? And brought that. So it's like, as one person slides out of life, they put their energy into something, that something is able to slide out of purgatory into their next life. And I'm calling it purgatory just because it's that in between the breads of birth certificate and tombstone. So you're just in that zip, 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 zip. You just get zipped over. So man, all this really happened. And it ain't really a punchline to all this. So, we learned a lot. So then, at the same time, one thing I did not do, I did not trick myself into thinking like, oh man, did I just see something? Did I see something? I didn't spook myself in there. I really just wanted to see it for what it was. And I didn't see nothing. And I didn't even feel no odd, chill, spooky spirit. I didn't do anything like that to myself, but I totally respected what the other people saw. And matter of fact, the lady who was working that day, who saw, like one of the ladies who was working, she quit. That was her job. Now, we all know 2025, it ain't a lot of jobs floating around. She quit her job. And being Catholic, they're not into all that ghost. They're not even into the Holy Ghost. They was like, nah, time to go. Fuck that. So, wait, are Catholics in they say the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit? Oh, I might be fucking that up too. But it's something about being a medium or something about communicating with ghosts, or when ghosts occupy something. Catholic people ain't about to do nothing with that. So she quit. That's how real that shit was. So then, the next day, my friend spoke to a medium. That medium is a person who's in between, kind of like the word, right? Not small, not large, you're medium. So not this side of life, not that side of life. You're in the middle. Middle, medium, same word. Vocabulary word of the day is medium. Medium. Not a schmedium, but she spoke to the medium. So the medium said that the ghosts are there peacefully, and they're the architects of the building, and they like their work, and they're not going to leave. And I even think she said they were a little salty at first about a new occupation of the building, but it's like they ain't leaving. Oh, I'm leaving out a whole key point. Man. She called, my friend also called the previous, I'm not sure if it's the owner of the building or the previous occupant of the building, and asked, is there anything that I need to know in this building about ghosts? Anything. And then dude said, yeah, I meant to tell you something. There's a man and a woman in there. And yes, they are in there. And no, they never did anything to harm anybody. And we never had any problems. But there's definitely a man and a woman ghost occupying that space. This is from somebody who had occupied that space for years, right? And so like these are confirmations of the same things coming from multiple people who do not know each other. So then she spoke to the medium, right? Fast forward to that. And the medium said, oh yeah, those are the architects of the building, and named each one of the person's names. And she pretty much told them like they'll be there and they'll be chilling, but they really built up all these buildings around this little block, around this little area, so they go from place to place. And I was like, "Oh, you better send them some love. You better send them some love. You got to pop that love gun." Because you have spirits working with you and they're not even interfering. And I told her, I said, look, if they didn't want you to open, they'd have shut you down early, but they didn't. They let you rock. All right. So like you got to understand, it's kind of, not adversarial. It's kind of, I wish the spirit would give me the right word right now, but they're kind of helpful, right? Maybe even protective to a certain degree. So the medium said their names. Said the names of the architects. So my good friend looked up, not even after that, way before, had looked up who's the architects of this building and just what's the history of the building. Lo and behold, when the medium said these are the people who are occupying the joint, it was confirmed that yeah, those were the architects' names. The medium didn't know that those were the architects, though. I mean, no, let me not say that. The medium did not know that my friend knew their names. But the two resources linked up. The medium was right on the names, and those were for damn sure the architects. Right? So now at this point, it's like, okay, there's ghosts that we're just gonna have to coexist with, and this is what we doing. And I was like, oh goodness gracious. Oh goodness gracious, girl. It's about to be a hell of a Halloween party.
I made a decision. Enough is enough.
The Halloween party. I mean, I haven't even checked to see what the marketing to it is, but my goodness, you got the real deal. People gonna come dressed in cheap costumes. You got the real deal in that joint. But don't tell anybody because it might run people off. But you never know. Might be the toast of the town. You don't know. Oh, so another thing that you should do. Okay, now these are tips to be somebody with high energy who doesn't get occupied by ghosts. The liver is key into keeping your chi up. The liver is key to the chi. So your liver needs to be working at optimum levels. That means, man, you get your strongest liver recharge energy between the hours of 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. So between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m., he recommended that you are asleep so that your body can be doing the work to make your strongest element in terms of your energy resources its strongest. So between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m., you need to be asleep. Okay, don't compromise your liver. He mentioned sleep is excellent and also morning sun. And he said, make sure you do your most complicated things and most of your work before 12 noon. You'll work at a high level and it'll build upon itself. And oddly enough, I be getting my best work in. I'm my smartest, without a shadow of a doubt, between 6 a.m. and 12. I might be able to nudge that thing over till 2 p.m., but really it's noticeable. I drops off after 12. And so that's what dude said. And I couldn't ignore it because he wasn't stuttering and he was on point. So I learned about ghosts. And the more you know, right? And let me tell you what the boo banger is. That was a Monday. That Sunday, I had just gone over to my grandmother's house. My grandmother's 100 years old. Shout out to Nana. Went over to my grandmother's house, and I was there with my son, and we were talking to her and another person who was there. We were talking about spirits and how spirits occupy rooms. We were talking about this before any of this other stuff had happened. So like we're having the conversation about this, and then 24 hours later, we talk about real ghosts. So in the biggest scheme of things, I don't know everything about what this means, but I know that that was super real and that it is real. And, you know, don't ignore your spiritual nature. Matter of fact, that day we were talking about the fact that spirits can help you, but they can't help you until you talk to them. So like if you have relatives or whatever, talk to them, connect with them. Just like I was saying before, you know, the entity or entities that you think brought about the lives of your great-great-grandparents, uninterrupted, in a physical position that you would reserve only for that talk. Have conversations with them. Take the time. Have the conversation with that entity or entities, right? And man, listen, I'm talking all this, but I'm in my rookie year talking about all this shit. But it is something that is fucking present. And I know for a fact that a lot of you all have experienced ghosts. I know you have. I know a lot of y'all been like, wait. Now my man, my homegirl, my grandma, my kid. I know a lot of y'all have. So that's why I'm saying it's real. It's real. Deal with it. I just gave you a jewel about the sandalwood and matter of fact, these things are to be centralized. So you'll have like sandalwood. So you can have an altar. The altar should be in a corner. The altar could be as simple as a table or it could be more complex, right? But the altar, it should have an element of water. So you know, water and life. So, you know, plant a flower. And let me keep it real simple. I'm not even gonna get into how to build an altar and be a novice at misleading you, but pictures of people who are not descendants, who are ancestors, recent ancestors of yours, or maybe distant ancestors, but you know, pictures of ancestors and you know, a fire element. So you have a candle, preferably a white candle. I don't know what white candles have to do with it, but they got something to do with it. And you know, when you sit down at your altar, or even when you don't sit down, burn sandalwood. So that's what I learned on my autumn vacation.
Debo rap over emo rap. I run these guppy niggas, dude. They comfort food. I snack on Florida Ave and eat a meal in Miami. You're everywhere. Touching souls from kids to grannies. I'm on 580, Georgia Ave, MLK, Route 50, Chesapeake, South Street. I'm up in New York City.
And in the whole idea of ghosts, I just had a wonderful conversation, unsolicited, yesterday about ghosting. Huh. You ever been ghosted? Are you currently ghosting somebody? Well, this is how this situation came to me. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was talking about how she's made peace with certain people who haven't been there for her. How she had to how she reshuffles the deck of her friends and figures like who's a friend and who's somebody who was just there, and how do I do this? How do I do this? Keep this person in my life, keep these people in my life thing. And she said that she, you know, if people rubbed her wrong, then she would just leave them alone. And I guess her first question, I guess it started because she called me and asked me, how do I remain resolute in what I think and feel and say and do, even if people don't like it? And so I told her, I was like, I do what I truly feel I'm supposed to do from within, not from outside noise. Now I operate functionally in society to a certain degree, but it's my inner voice that I'm moving on. not their approval. So if they don't like it, there's a certain amount of understanding I have for that. If they like it, it's a certain amount of understanding I have for that. If they're indifferent, there's a certain amount of understanding I have for that. But none of that governs what I'm doing, and that's not like me having the inability to read the room, but it's me knowing that I was given this go round to make it happen, and I was given my specific instructions as they might have been given their specific instructions. And sometimes you might be on a path where you and another person see eye to eye, and sometimes that path might diverge. It is what it is. I can't be babying everybody. And so she was like, so what about when there's somebody who you're really good friends with and y'all don't speak anymore because you think they acted a certain way or whatever? And I was like, well, y'all weren't the friends you thought you were, right? Revelation. So I'm thinking I know what I'm talking about, right? And then she was like, I feel that. But I also feel I need to tell people why and what. So then when we go separate ways, they have something, they got a bag lunch to walk with. They understand why we don't speak or why we haven't spoken. And to protect myself in a vulnerable way, I was thinking, yeah, fuck them. It don't matter if they understand. However, she was like, yeah, well, the way I feel I was put in that position, I don't think that's what God wants from me. And she was like, and I was listening. And she said, I think God put me in that position to be in at odds with that person, or the fallout or the re-engineering of the friendship or whatever. So there's a lesson there. And she was like, and so she said, I would appreciate it if people gave me the lesson upon their departure. And she was like, I want to give people the lesson upon my departure from them. And maybe we could have a conversation and alter things, or maybe not. But I want it to be clear, because otherwise I sit and I hold a certain amount of anger. Even if it's just enough anger to muster up, I don't give a fuck. Or like some emotion that aligns with that, you're still holding something. And on a certain level of your baggage, just so you don't have to pay for extra baggage on the flight, it might get a little heavy. So give this person the word when you're calm. Not when you're in an emotional state and you're trying to protect yourself, so you're trying to dice and slice them up, but just when you know what it is, and then just tell them like how you feel. And so I was like, man, there are two people that I could think of who I used to be close with, who I kind of hold a soft position in the fuck 'em category with them. But the reason why I hold that position is because we've never had a talk, right? And I think the onus is on them to talk, but I see where they are, and I see that they're not fit with self to step out and have an uncomfortable conversation. And then that leads me back to point A. Well, fuck them. But the thing about just leaving it like that, each of those people I mentioned meant something significant to me at significant points in my life. And so, and this ain't no romantic love thing. This is like homies that I'm talking about. And there was no theft involved. There was no betrayal involved, right? It was just a difference in philosophy that kept us on the outskirts of being able to talk. And I think both of them have a similar thing about them, where they're extremely white people pleasing, but they're not white, right? So they do and say the things that they think society likes to hear. So they're really, really tied up with the idea of what's right and what's wrong, and who's right and who's wrong. And sometimes it's not that rigid. Sometimes that philosophy in itself is wrong. And so they're not, I feel like they won't listen if I do talk. And then it'll become some silly ass fake intellectual conversation where they spin in circles trying to protect themselves, and just won't deal with the truth of how they've been just on some sucker shit. Right. And so that's part of the reason why I think like I haven't had those conversations, but it does bother me. And so like, since you told me that, I'm thinking of, man, how could I get this truth from me to them? Because without me talking to either one of them for how long, it has been something I've been holding, which unexpectedly in some downtime, occasionally I will spend that time thinking about one of these people. But they are so, each one of them has done things that are so not G shit. Like, they've been doing G shit, they've been doing H shit. House. That I don't even know where the conversation starts, but then that's me trying to be all perfect with it. I don't have to know where the conversation starts. I should just like have the conversation, just drop that off at a time when man, why are you talking about this random shit? It's not random, it's specific, And so like she woke me up to like how bad ghosting could be for everybody. Communication, positive elevation always corrects errors. Positive elevation always corrects errors. That's peace, the acronym. And I just think that we need to lean into our peaceful side a little more when it comes to that. One time for the people. But yeah, man, I'm trying to figure it all out. The ghosts are here to help. And then, man, last thing on ghosts. Well, not the last thing because we're entering Halloween. Man, just this past weekend, shout out to the HBCUs, Howard and Hampton. Oh, shit. Morgan State, everybody else who's like dealing with homecoming activity this weekend. In Washington, D.C., Howard homecoming is like it's like a people's holiday. Like that whole, from Thursday to Sunday, is damn near like a holiday. There's hella traffic, there's hella activity going on. People fly in the city who aren't normally here, and it's really enriching socially. I didn't participate much, but I went to one event that my homeboy throws, like on the annual tip. And I wasn't there for very long. And then I went to this other joint that some of my friends were throwing, and it was in Adams Morgan on 18th Street. So for those of you all who know about DC, you know like what the Adams Morgan district is. More importantly, you know about, well, if you know me or know about Grindstone or Peace in the Air, you know that I had a store on 18th Street. So from 2019, when I started doing construction on this place, to November 2024, for a good 5 years, 18th Street was my whole get down. That was my address, social identity. It was where if I had extra time, I put my extra time in on 18th Street, doing stuff for the store, for the brand, all that. November 2024, I closed my store. And fortunately, that space has yet to be rented to anybody new. The for rent sign is about to have a birthday on that joint. Hey, that's what you get for being a suck-ass landlord. But anyways, I digress. I went to 18th Street that night with a clear mind, and I got to this function that I was supposed to go to, realized the function was earlier in the day. So I showed up at night. That shit was early during the day. At nighttime, I was looking around like, this can't be it. But I came at the wrong time. But then I walked up the street and I was like, let me just peek in on some of the spaces that I was familiar with. And I swear to the spider webs in the corner, 18th Street is dead. Dead. It's dead. It's like the soul has been kicked out of that joint. Whatever it was 2 years ago, it is not even socially recognizable at all. It's a big void. And there are a lot of places in America right now that are big voids. And as I walked up the street and walked down the street and saw places that were open, places were closed, places I used to have fun, places that seemed safe, places that were this and that, it just seemed like there was a general emptiness. Now, there were people outside, but it wasn't there no more. The whole thing that made the scene the thing, it just was not there anymore. And it was at that moment that I told myself, I don't ever need to go to 18th Street again in my life. There's too many ghosts of my past. I got too many bad memories from 18th Street. And I got a bunch of good ones. But from people stealing who I knew, from people breaking in who I didn't know, from people turning straight up sucker who I did know, from the city government being on bullshit with me, from me dealing with the grifters and the zombies, from me dealing with the people who I really, really gave a lot of energy to and then they gave me half effort, to all the shit that I was dealing with. Those are the scars that build character. I had a lot of success there. I'm really thankful. But I graduated. I don't have to go back and see those ghosts ever again on that street. And I was just trying to describe it like, it's not the windows that are in the panes. It's the broken windows that are there for me. So get your situation straight with your ghosts and be all right with yourself and be all right with that. I'm Grindstone. This is Sorry for My Language. We rocked through another one, baby. Alola. I'm Grindstone. Happy Halloween.